Well, we return today with RHYL-1879 in a pretty remarkable position in the Welsh Premier League. Now, there are a couple of reasons for this, partly due to a glitch that has been acknowledged by SI and will hopefully be addressed very soon, but also due to the fact that we're just very solid. We've weirdly dropped our points in the games that you'd least expect, and today we play a couple of the sides expected to be in and around this top end of the table. But at the moment, things are going swimmingly, and we need to see if we can keep it up. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 14 of this FM26 Build a Nation story, the RHYL-MARKABLE Build with me, Daniel. We are back today in early October as we continue our Welsh Premier League season with two huge games, as it turns out, near the top end of the table, and it's actually the start of a really difficult run. We face Connah's Quay, who are level on points with us in joint second. Yes, we are in joint second in the table. And then we go and face Colwyn Bay, who are going to be another very difficult test in 8th place, but just 6 points behind. Then it's Bala Town after that, who are up in 5th. So it's going to be the decisive fixtures. We've had a fairly friendly run so far. We got TNS at a great time, who are back at the top of the table. But there is a reason for this success that we think we've found. We're going to discuss that in a moment. If you're looking forward to it and the two games, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. We didn't return at the end of the transfer window because there wasn't much going on. But despite the fact we had another injury to Seb Bolton and the fact that we've had a little bit of fixture congestion, we've managed to do really well. So let's go to the fixture schedule, look at our results, look at what's going well and why we might be up in second place. Because if we go and have a look here, you may notice the first mini glitch with FM26 and the way the Welsh pyramid has been restructured. Now, this is something that has been addressed by SI, and it's actually a really stupid little oversight in the grand scheme of things. But what they've done is in the second season, where the league has expanded and there are less games after the split and a lot more before it, is they've forgotten to change the actual split date in the table. So as it stands here, the actual split for our final 5 games is still taking place in the middle of January, where there'd normally be a cup game and then you'd go to post-split. Now, previously that was fine in Wales because you had 22 games before the split and you had 10 games after. And you would then have, one most weeks going towards the end of the season with a few gaps for cups for the top tier side. Now, because that date hasn't been changed in FM26, despite the league restructure and the expanded top tier, we've now got all 30 games in the same period that 22 used to be played, and then only 5 in the period where 10 used to be played before. So one of the issues that has led to is the fact that many of the top tier sides are now playing 3 times a week, which for us isn't so bad because while we've not got an outstanding first team in most areas, we've actually got a pretty good squad. Our backups are pretty decent in most areas. Now, from other teams in the league where they've prioritised maybe having a stronger 11, 12, 13 because they're used to playing 1 game a week, this is a bit of a problem because they're now having to rotate for midweek fixtures and are dropping some silly points. So I think that's part of the issue that we're seeing here, which will hopefully resolve itself before too long. There is actually a benefit to this though. The main element of the Build a Nation save later, where we're trying to take the rest of the nation, the coefficient, and the teams in Europe to the next level, means that the second half of the season, when you do eventually reach those latter European stages, there's going to be a lot less fixture congestion. So depending on when it's fixed by Sports Interactive and how far we progress in this save, it could end up being a blessing or a curse. We'll wait and see which it is. But let's discuss the period since you were last with me, because you were here, well, for all of our first 3 games of the season. The first one, we saw the win with our transfer special against Pontypridd, which wasn't convincing. And to be fair, not many of our performances have been. And you were there for both the win against TNS when they were worrying about Thursday night football and the first defeat of the season against Barry Town. We then followed up with a 1-1 draw against Pennybont where we clung on and we got a point we didn't really deserve from a free kick, which was great. But I was thinking, okay, this is going to be a middling season, which is sort of what I was expecting, to be battling between sort of maybe trying to sneak into the top 6 or that middle period between 7 and 10 and having some outside chance at a European playoff. What's happened since then, though, is a little bit hard to explain in terms of consistency and where the results have come. because we beat Haverfordwest 3-0 with a brilliant performance. Kieran Petrie showed up for the first time as his fitness built. Mikey O'Neill got a couple as he settled in as well. You can see Michael Stanley a strong performer. So no doubt the players that we've brought into the club this summer, while not a full overhaul of the squad, have definitely improved the team overall. In the League Cup, we snuck through against Holyhead Hotspur. Not the best of displays, but we got the win with Cavanda. And then reserve substitute Bronny Phillips scoring a goal. Jack Parry picked up a knock in that one, missed a fair few weeks. Then we lost at home to fellow promoted side Newtown. Sammy Ratty got the goal. We struggled to get into the game. And obviously in this period where we didn't have Bolton, and then with Parry injured as well, we were literally relying on Hamza Ahmed for 90 minutes each game. And he picked then to have a goal drought, which didn't go well. We then drew 1-1 away at another of the promoted sides, which left us in a spot of bother. A late penalty actually from the skipper Mo Ali spared our blushes and 2 successive defeats. But since then, 4 wins in a row, and bar the first one, actually a real sign of intent for the first time, a suggestion that we're starting to gel and click and look a force going forward, and of course coinciding with the return of the likes of Seb Bolton as well. We beat Carnarvon Town 1-0 with Mikey O'Neill. Wasn't a great display, but we got the win. And over 500 people in, which was nice to see too. Better attendances than previous editions of this game. A 5-2 victory away at Flint Town was the coming of age moment, if you like. We were 4-1 up at half time. Rob Howard got the early pen before O'Neill, Lafondra, and then that returning Seb Bolton brace led us to a very comfortable victory. We then scored 5 again 4 days later against Cardiff Met Uni. That was Mikey O'Neill, Michael Stanley with his first for the club, Lafondra, Baldwin, who got off the bench and scored one, and also the end of a goal drought for Hamza Ahmed, and that proved absolutely crucial last time out, because away at Cambrian United, again, against the sides near the bottom, seemed to struggle a bit more, but we did get a 2-1 win. They can equalise just after the break, and then Hamza Ahmed, assisted by Chris Mann, who's not had many great games for us, ended his goal drought and continued his form with 2 goals in 2, and this time a big match week winner, which to be fair, he's done now against TNS in the cup game against Llandudno and here at Cambrian United. Not bad at all for a 16-year-old. So all of that leaves the table looking pretty tight, but we are in an incredible position at the moment. TNS are top, and to be fair, 2 of their 3 defeats came during that European qualifying run, so they're going to blitz it yet again. Connah's Quay look like they're going to be the best of the rest, but I think after that, there's an argument that we've got a genuine chance of competing. It is a very tightly matched table, and I'm aware that 3 defeats could put us in the bottom half, but it's very clear that we're not going to get relegated, and it's also incredibly strongly suggested that the 3 sides that have come up from the south, rather than our division, are going to be going straight back down, because they're all struggling in single figures, with the teams up from the north, ourselves, Newtown and Mould Alex, all doing significantly better and averaging over a point a game. So looks like the southern teams that have come up are going to make relegation a non-question for everyone else. But are we going to be able to sneak into that top 6? Are we going to be able to keep this pace? Or are we going to get found out as the fixtures become fewer and further between? Because then perhaps we're going to start to see that other teams will be able to be stronger playing their first team every match. I've now gone and brought up the league screen overall just to show you a couple of interesting things. The first of which is that Mould Alex, who came up with us last year, are still dominating possession. They're playing a completely different way to almost every side in the country. And Kieran Petrie, who we signed in the last episode, now top of the assist chart, over 1 per game. He's just been a superstar. And he's also got the highest average rating in the league. So definitely an upgrade worth having there. And the likes of him and Stanley are really starting to show their class now. I also wanted to show you the JD North because it features a side of interest to us. Bangor 1876, who of course, the original Bangor club we managed in our FM21 Build Nation, have been promoted and are now in the top half of the North. So they may well be back before too long. And in terms of attendances, in terms of club size, and in terms of a bit of nostalgia, I guess, wouldn't it be great to see that name in the top tier next year? We'll wait and see if it actually happens or not. For now, though, we've got 2 games to head into, so let's go and review our team selection. It is pretty much as you would expect at the minute. However, we have made a couple of very big decisions today. Craig Mann was the superstar against Cambrian United. He got 2 assists and ended up setting up the winner. So he is staying in for Petrie, who had a knock in midweek and missed out. I've also bought Lafondra in for Kawanda, and he's starting to improve now, so he's going to stick with it. We've also got a little bit of fatigue in the squad with the 2 games a week that I mentioned. It's affecting other sides, but it's also affecting us. Michael Stanley is one of those, as is Harry Dakin. And incidentally, something I haven't even noticed this season is Stanley is actually an under-19. So in terms of filling that quota of 2 under-19 players on the bench, we could drop him for Baldwin on the odd occasion when we're desperate. Seb Bolton is back in, he's finding his fitness. Hopefully he can stay there now. But we've brought in the likes of Barnes, we've brought in Baldwin, and Fisher is at centre-half as we're at the end of an international break where Ali has played loads for Somalia and is absolutely cream crackered on his return. So this is our 11 in full for today. Hunter is the man between the sticks with Muscat and Baldwin the fullbacks. Fisher and Senior combine at centre-half as they have for the last couple of weeks. Howard is joined by Barnes, the Harrogate loanee in midfield, with O'Neill, Lafondra and Mann, the star of the weekend, the attacking midfield three behind Bolton up front. It's probably the most rotation we've had to commit for a league game so far this season, so I am a little worried about it. But Quay, one of the strongest sides in the division, I would expect them to be good in this game, and if they're not, well, who knows, there might be a title race on. Well, here we go. The visitors have brought in Cadan Taylor, who we actually tried to sign at the start of the first season, but they've got a good team overall. They did really well last year. Hopefully they can back that up this time, because we want the same sides getting into Europe in terms of TNS and Quay and getting the nation stronger, bringing more money in. What we want to add to that after is become the third or fourth one. But I don't just want to break through straight away. So let's go and get into the first half and see how we go. We've scored goals galore in the last few matches, but generally our season's been a story of 1-0s, 1-alls and tight games. So which are we going to get tonight? Let's head into the first half. Looks a good crowd in here against Quay. Was listed as a sort of rivalry before the match. So I guess with it two teams being from the north of Wales, perhaps that's all it takes at this level. As we head into the first half, let's see how we get on. They're keeping possession and they're playing it at the back nicely. And we've gone through 20 seconds without stopping, which suggests this will be a proper highlight as Hunter is tested. He's beaten to it, but the woodwork saves us. Fisher able to clear it away down the right. Mann can break, but he loses possession. And we were immediately almost 1-0 behind. Not the best of starts in this game, but Mann apparently looking a superstar again. Maybe this is an inspired team selection. Well, here we go on the right-hand side as 10 minutes gone, and it is that man in possession, Craig Mann, cuts into Howard, who's improved recently, and finds O'Neill, who's been a superstar since joining the club. Back to Senior. Over the top, Mann will chase it, not able to get there. Breaks down for Barnes, who wins it back for Bolton. O'Neill beats two, it's a good run into the box, and Mikey O'Neill forces a save from the goalkeeper. He's really starting to look a star in there. We could have got Corey Evans back, actually. We tried in the summer and failed. He's already moved clubs again. I think it was Havant and Waterlooville he left. I'm not sure where he's gone since. But definitely moving about a lot. 20 minutes gone here, though. We're getting on top in this game. O'Connor's Quay are having more of the ball. And we'll wait to see if they can create chances too. Well, I spoke too soon. Approaching half-time, we've had a very high expected goals, lots of shots, but nothing worthy of a highlight individually. The momentum is with us, though. And maybe this is what I mentioned about having a stronger backup team. So we're going to say that we're happy with the amount of shots we're having. We're happy with what we're creating. There's no doubt that Seb Bolton is not fully fit and he's not consistent up there. It is the weakest area of our team. But given the fact that Hamza Ahmed came through surprisingly in that youth intake last year, I don't just want to sign a top striker and then stop both of these stars from developing, because they are probably the future. And I guess we can wait another year and then get a superstar. 10 minutes gone in the second half. The few that have come in are performing really well. Baldwin, Barnes and Fisher. But we're starting to see struggles from Lafondra and O'Neill. So it could be down to the super subs again. As we pick it up with O'Neill now towards Seb Bolton. Finds Mann cutting in from the right, who's struggling physically more than performance-wise today. Those good footballers. Barnes goes wide to Lafondra. In behind to O'Neill. Bolton's in the middle. And what a goal that is. It's really hard because we are overachieving. But it's a fantastic move. It's great football and you feel like you've got to enjoy it. Seb Bolton gets another one. Barnes comes into the team, looks a star. Lafondra and O'Neill are starting to link up brilliantly. And Seb Bolton is exactly where you want him. Taps in from 6 yards. Fantastic football and a wonderful goal to give RHYL the lead. A fantastic performance so far. And the only question is, can we keep it up? Well, this is where it does all go wrong, because unfortunately, Craig Mann has picked up an injury now. And he's going to be replaced by Petrie on the right-hand side of the pitch. He will be going off, but we're bringing on a stronger player, so he's not necessarily a disaster. As we're almost at the hour mark, we might as well make some other changes as well. So let's get Lafondra off for Kivander. We have got Parry back to fitness on the bench, but I'm not going to do anything else yet. Just the two wingers that will be replaced Fresh legs, never a bad thing out there. Well, 20 minutes to go, and we're back with Connah's Quay, but we've got them where we want them, in our own 6-yard box. Goal kick chipped over the top. Can we win it? No, we can't, and we're a little bit caught out because they've thrown 3 men forward, and they're in with Williams, who forces a brilliant save from Hunter. The value of a top goalkeeper cannot be undermined at all. What an effort that is. We've got a few that are really struggling now. I'm going to take Muscat off for Bissix at left back. I'm also going to take off Howard in central midfield for Dakin, who's not the fittest at the moment, but he'll do a job for now. I'm not sure which way round those two are better, actually. We'll go like that. I am going to keep Fisher on despite being tired because Ali should be fit again for the weekend. And it leaves me with one more. Seb Bolton has not yet completed 90 minutes. So I might just give it 5 more. And if we don't get an injury, just make sure he's well rested. It's the longest he's played without Hamza Ahmed coming on. But he's scored in his last 2 matches. So let's give him the last 10 here. 80 gone. We're 1-0 up. We've dominated the match generally. Connah's Quay have had a lot of chances without creating anything clear-cut. And it looks like we're going to be pushing for the top end of the table. TNS are, of course, winning comfortably. But Bala are drawing. Barry are drawing. The others are all slipping up. And if everyone else is beating each other, it's a good sign for us. There are 6 minutes added on here, which does worry me slightly because it only takes 1 when you don't get that second goal. But Bissix finds Dakin, and at the moment, we're still controlling possession as it's up towards Kiwanda. Headed away as far as Dakin into O'Neill. And his shot's just wide. Could have put it to bed there. With 5 to go, Connah's Quay have still got a hope. Can they find themselves one more chance? It doesn't look like it, or does it? Connah's Quay corner, 30 seconds to go. Keeper's up there, as is everyone else. Franklin wins it back. They're still going forward, but they've given it away to Bissix, and surely we counter now. Up towards Ahmed, who knocks it down for Petri. Through to Hamza Ahmed again. He scored 2 in 2. Can he make it 3? Into the box, forces the save. But he's done exactly the job we needed to. He's got us up the pitch. He held the ball up initially, and he's seen out the last 30 seconds. A 1-0 win for RHYL. A game where we had the best chances, but it was fairly even aside from that. But another win against another top side. I don't quite know how we're doing this at the moment. It's a little bit too much success for my liking. We're getting asked about Marn's injury, which would suggest it's not a particularly pleasant one. But look at the other results as well. Pennybont and Bala 4th and 5th drew with each other. We saw Flint Town lose at home to Newtown. So it's starting to look great. After the top spot, it seems to be all up for grabs. Let's have a look at this injury worry though, because that's going to be the big thing, isn't it? If we get 2 or 3 injuries, we're going to be in a spot above up for the rest of this season. Chris Marn is out 8 to 11 weeks. So that is essentially till the league split now. And given the fact we're playing 2 or 3 games a week, we cannot afford to lose more like that. Chris Marn is out for the long term. Unfortunately, just our second big injury of the season. Well, here we are again with a few selection dilemmas given the injury situation and the fatigue in the squad. We face Colwyn Bay, but today, Mo Ali is nowhere near back fit. Callum Fisher, who'd been in for the last few, is nowhere near fit. And Matty Senior is also nowhere near fit. So we're going to have to play one of them by default. But it does mean that I'm going to have to bring in Bissix alongside because I can't have both of them knackered. Then Senior and Fisher can maybe do half and half. On a more positive front, we've brought Dakin back in central midfield. We've been able to bring Petri back in on the right, albeit not in the circumstances we wanted because of that injury to Marn. That means that Davis is on the bench as a sub left back now because Bissix is into the 11. What that also means is that Stanley has to stay out for another game at right back because he's the other under 19 in the squad. So Bissix starting means that he stays out, but then Baldwin played really well last time. So good to reward him with another start. The rest of it is the same as we back up a 1-0 win against Connah's Quay. But Colwyn Bay at the weekend should be back to near enough full strength here. Now let's see what impact that has on their performance against us and whether we can hold on with no fit centre halves. Well, into the game we go, and this sort of signifies my point here. 8 changes made for Colwyn Bay, some of them stronger, some of them weaker. But they are having to rotate more because of the scheduling in the league, which is leading to these weird performances every now and then and those drop points. However, for now, Alfie Bangs is in central midfield, a player we've looked at before. They have dropped out Reece Allport due to injury in a similar position to us. There's a couple of younger players in, and then there's a lot of first teamers returning. So I don't know what to expect. We're doing really well. We're playing above all expectation. But away at Colwyn Bay should be a difficult match. They're in 8th place. If they win it, They're back within, 5 points of us, and it all tightens up again. But will they? That's the big question. As they go from the kickoff, are we just going to get the customary 10 seconds, or are we going to get a shock like we did in the last match? As Bailey works it forward to Bangs, it does peter out. And as it stands, we're very briefly in top spot because TNS are not playing tonight. So we've got the chance to leapfrog them here. 5 minutes gone, Colwyn Bay on top in the stats. It looks like they might be fresh and up to full strength today. Well, 25 minutes gone. It's been very quiet here, albeit Colwyn Bay having the better of the stats, but we're starting to see some of the bigger boys with their usual weekend performances as well. So the likes of Connah and the likes of Cardiff Met Uni and Pennybont all ahead already as Phillips breaks down the right for Colwyn Bay, who are trying to do the same. It's a brilliant goal. He's absolutely skinned the fullback. He's got in, and it's that left channel we were worried about with Bissix. Muscat, who's been playing every single game, training really well, but he's just looking a little bit fatigued. Bissix didn't know whether to commit or not. In the end, Phillips breaks in. It's a really good finish, and Hunter has no chance. Into the far corner, Colwyn Bay ahead, and in a way, I'm almost sort of relieved. We're 5 to the break, and as you can see in the top left of the screen, Connah's Quay 3-0 up already, so they're going to close the gap again today, as we're really struggling at the back here. We quite often struggle in games to be completely dominant, but to not have a shot on target of nearly half-time approaching is a worry. We've got a chance to change that here as Lafondra on the break into Seb Bolton. First one of the game and it's in. Quay and Lafondra doing what he does on that left-hand side. He started slowly, but on the counter-attack, ruthless display down there. And that's why he's on the big bucks. He beats the fullback, gets to the byline, just whips it into the back post, exactly as we instructed. Seb Bolton rises, he peels onto the fullback, he gets everything right and nods it in at the back stick. Really well directed header, down low to the keeper's left. And 1-1 in a game where, as you can see, we don't deserve it at all. Our expected goals is 0.1 and we're FMing them towards a draw at the minute. Would be a great result in the circumstances. I'm not sure we're going to hang on the way we've been playing. I'm going to say, I'm proud of your efforts, keep going and we can win this. Because I can't say they've been the better side, because they haven't. But you can also see as we approach half-time, Senior and Muscat both knackered already. What do we do with the subs here? Though Lafondra at the start of the second half trying to create something early. Plays a 1-2 with Dakin. Not sure if this is going to lead to anything or not. Muscat up to Bolton. Tries to hold it up. Looks for support from Howard. Out to Lafondra on the left and we are going to get a chance. Lafondra towards Dakin. Cuts inside to Lafondra. Good challenge in the ends. That's really good defending. On another day could have been a pen. The long ball is not brought down well though. And Bissix can start again, who actually, just by being fit, has been the best of the back four today, despite being by far the worst player on paper. As O'Neill to Bolton, this is a long start to the half. Petrie on the right-hand side, the assist machine, and there's a great cross in again. But Bolton not able to get on the end of it. Headed away well. We've seen the whole first minute of this half as Muscat goes down the left again. O'Neill keeps it in. He's got support from Lafondra. Up to the back post. It's Bolton again. And that was the best chance of the lot. Heads it just wide at the back stick. It stays 1-1, but a much more promising start to the half. And signs that we might be able to push on here. Connah's Quay have got a fourth as Lafondra has a free kick. Right-footed into the back post. Up goes the defender. He does really well. Only as far as Howard, though, on the edge of the box. Might fancy a shot. Play short to Baldwin. Into Senior. He finds Petrie and he's put it over. Oh, that's a good chance, that. We've had two really good ones in 5 minutes in this half. And we've already created more than we did in the whole of the first period. It does look like we're really growing into this. And maybe my chat with the lads has worked well. You can see Petrie struggling on the right, but we don't really have any subs now for the foreseeable. Only to switch Lafondra over yet again. As here he is on the left. Do I want to change that? Plays a 1-2 with Dakin, who started this half brilliantly. Gets in and just over the bar. Benjamin was panicking there. It had him worried. But we're still pushing. We're in the ascendancy. We've got substitutes we can make. We're going to have to change that defence up. But we win the header from the goal kick, though they can start again. Foxwell plays into midfield and, look, much like the first half, will it be a team scoring against the run of play? Because the long ball finds Clesworth and it's a brilliant save from Hunter. He tips it over the bar. 1-on-1, superb goalkeeping and keeps us level. When perhaps we should have been caught out at the back there. Connah's Quay have made it 5 as Senior returns in possession. He's not going to do much longer, is he? Finds Baldwin and now Howard. Into midfield finds O'Neill, who's dropped deep to pick up possession again. Gives it to Bolton, the target man. Plays a 1-2 with Petrie. Runs in on goal. Seb Bolton, that's sublime. That is the ultimate target man. Holds up with his back to goal, finds the playmaker, darts back into the box off the ball and gets it back. Wonderful goal, wonderful assist. It's lovely football. Classic 1-2. And Colwyn Bay, despite dominating the first 42 minutes of this game, somehow find themselves 2-1 down. And yet again, we're finding a way to win. I don't know how to explain how we're doing it. An hour gone and RHYL are 2-1 up, ahead for the first time today. And here we are again on the right-hand side as Cardiff Met Uni are scoring goals galore as well. And Colwyn Bay doing their defensive work. Are they going to be able to find a way back into this? They've still got their striker quite isolated at the moment as Petrie gets down the right and he's really found confidence now. Beats his man across the box. Bolton's on a hat-trick. Finds O'Neill. It's 3-1. It's unselfish. And we're suddenly scoring goals galore. Who would have seen this coming in the first half? We were getting battered. And suddenly, we've scored 3 in a space of 15 minutes. Petrie's producing the old form we're used to. And Bolton here could have turned and shot. But look at that. So unselfish to O'Neill, who just grabs half a yard in the box. Puts it into the roof of the net with aplomb. And if we can see this out comfortably, it becomes a very important week. And potentially, it becomes a very exciting one for a title race. Not that that's what I would have expected or even liked in the first year. We're going to make changes in defence now. And actually, I'm going to change 3 of the back 4. Not what I usually do, but fresh legs here invaluable. Fisher and Stanley, actually improvements there. Bissex's the only one to stay in. Davis comes on at left back, who we don't get to see much in these videos. Barnes is going to come on in central midfield for Dakin. And we're going to save the last sub for 5 more minutes. But we've got Cavander, we've got Ahmed, depending on the stage of the game. If Bolton gets his hat-trick, we'll give him a rest. And if not, we'll give Cavander a run out. Because on the left-hand side, it's a Bangs free kick. And a goal for Colwyn Bay here could make it interesting. Herlock gets it on the edge, goes for the shot. And it drops down in the penalty area. Davis able to clear. It's away as far as O'Neill, who, again, always a threat on the counter. Finds Barnes the sub, and now Lafondra. O'Neill turns in possession. But you look at the stats, same shots, same on target. In fact, Colwyn Bay have had more. And the only stat we're ahead on really is the goals, which tells you the quality of the counter-attacking play. There's 15 to go. You can see a couple of those attacking mids are really struggling. So I'm actually going to leave Bolton on today. I'll apologise to Hamza Ahmed in advance. I'm going to take, I think, O'Neill off for Parry because I'd rather start Cavander in midweek than I would Parry. So Parry comes on. He's had a tough time with injury. We tend to go. It looks like it's going to be another 2 big wins this week. And in this one, we just entirely don't deserve it. Well, 3 minutes added on. They're almost up. And it's going to be a big win for RHYL. The second half was remarkable. Bolton and O'Neill combining. But how on earth did we win that football match? We were battered for half of it. We should have gone 2-1 down in the second half. And yet again, we find ourselves with 3 points. We're top of the table because TNS have got a game in hand. The other sides are starting to close up. Connah's Quay 1, Penny Bont 1. But this is remarkable for this stage of the season. Let's go and have a look at the schedule for when we're next going to be back. It's interesting. I just spent a minute there having a little nose at the squads off camera. And we're not weaker than Colwyn Bay or Connah's Quay on paper, despite some of their good recruitment. I think maybe we've got a better squad than we think. But let's have a look at when we can return. I'm tempted to show the next game against TNS because at the moment that's become a huge one. We've got a bit of a weird cup tie after it. So maybe I do mould Alex and TNS and then leave a bigger break again as we did before. Though there are some big games coming up across the board. Barrytown, Pennybont, etc. But TNS is the big one in this league. They've not got European football this time. So it should be a real judge of the squads. Mould Alex and TNS. Let's play our old rivals from last year. They're the 2 games we're going to come back for next time. If you did enjoy this one, though, a big performance against Connah's Quay and then a bizarre but big result against Colwyn Bay. And please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. Let me know what you make of this because there's part of me thinking, is this a bit too easy? But then obviously we've had difficulty in our stream save. Or is it just the fixture list? I think that is the problem at the moment. And hopefully that'll be something that's addressed soon. But we're doing really well. We have probably got a squad that's competitive with everyone outside TNS. We're going to try and keep proving it as the season goes on. So if you want to stay up to date, make sure you don't miss a thing. Subscribe and turn that notification bell on. There's also been plenty of guides and little feature videos regarding FM26. They're up in the eye above and description below. There's a couple more of them, of course, to come this weekend before we return on Monday with RHYL 1879. Thank you very much for watching. Appreciate you being here. and we'll be back on Monday in this save to face TNS in what now looks like it might be a title 6-pointer.